lines. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) expresses fresh fears over the upcoming off-cycle election in Edo and Ondo states. A building under construction at Jobe in Maryland, Lagos collapses, leaving 5 people dead and a couple others injured. Inferencing a strong typhoon made landfall on China's southeastern coast after sweeping across the nearby island of Taiwan, where it caused landslides and flooding. Details of this will come to you shortly. To stay with us. Another news in full. President Bola Tinubu on Thursday in Abuja emphasized the importance of sustaining democracy, its norms and institutions, noting that protests are an integral part of democracy, but that no government will condone demonstrations that lead to the destructions of lives and properties. The president spoke at the presidential villa when he received a letter of credence from the newly appointed United States Ambassador of Nigeria, Richard Mills. He said Nigeria's relationship with America is rich and governments believe in democracy and freedom, adding that former U.S. High Commissioners worked hard during Nigeria's transition to democracy and government. Remember the likes of Ambassador Howard Jetto expressing the United States' commitment to expanding cooperation with Nigeria on cybercrimes. The ambassador announced the establishment of a special office at the embassy to work closely with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC). Earlier, President Tinubu also received letters of credence from the High Commissioner of Malaysia to Nigeria, Ayub bin Umar, and the High Commissioner of Botswana, Ms. Philip Nani Kereng. Traditional rulers in the country have asked Nigerian youth who are planning to protest the hardship in the country to have a rethink and shelve the plan for peace and reign in the country. The traditional rulers made the call while fielding questions from State House correspondents after a meeting with the president at the presidential villa Abuja on Thursday. They said though it's their right to protest against any perceived government, they should also consider government efforts towards reducing the hardship in the country. The royal fathers commended the president for due engagement of the traditional institutions on issues of national importance, asking the youth to give them a benefit of doubt. They said the president presented them with his blueprint, which is aimed at reducing the sufferings of the people, calling on the intending protesters to exercise patience and hear the words of wisdom. On security, the royal fathers told journalists that they complained to the president about the security situation in the country, saying if there's security, many people will return to their farms.
Twist and a new spin from the political leadership of their country. For the very first time, the traditional rulers were properly engaged in terms of the plans of government and governance, their achievements so far, and where they are having challenges. This is long awaited. We've been waiting for it, but today we are very excited because we are closer to our people and we can bring those feedback back home.
The take-home message for me, hearing from Mr. President directly, I can see the passion. But at the same time, I think the government is finally understanding we are at a precipice. Our youths are our future. And I think today we've demonstrated that the government or the officials, we do have the heart of the nation in our minds.
As far as we are concerned, it went very, very well. And we're happy with the presentations made by the ministers, Minister of Finance, Minister of Economic Planning, and His Excellency the President himself. So I think it was good. Well, message we're taking back to our people is to be calm, to exercise patience, and also to listen to the words of wisdom coming from the traditional rulers, from the governors, because we have spoken to the president and he has given us the blueprint of what he has been doing over time.
The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has expressed fresh fears over the upcoming off-cycle elections in Edo and Ondo State. Chairman of INEC, Mahmood Yakubu, reiterated this stance on Thursday when he appeared before the Senate and House Representatives Committee on INEC with other commissioners. Correspondent Kulujo has more. He particularly noted that apart from a strain on state facilities, there is also the issue of governors using power of incumbency to the detriment of all the opposition parties and the candidate. Speaking specifically in Edo, Mahmood noted that despite the challenge of flooding, there is also the issue of security. Correspondent Kuluju reports that the head of the electoral umpire further expressed worry over the alleged deployment of operatives of the Edo State Security Network (ESSN) to cause commotion during the September 21st polls.
We are faced not only with the two major off-cycle elections in Edo and Ondo, but we also have these by-elections outstanding. Right now, we have 7 vacancies to be filled, 7 by-elections to be conducted. Just to refresh in our memories, we have outstanding or pending by-elections, House of Representatives, Babura Garki, Federal Constituency of Jigawa State, Chikun Kajuru, Federal Constituency of Kaduna State, Bagwai Shanono State Constituency in Kano State, State Assembly, Ibadan North, Federal Constituency of Oyo State, it's a federal constituency.
While outlining the activities for the Edo and Ondo elections, the INEC boss said submission of all polling agents will be done 30 days before the respective elections. He added that 17 candidates will be contesting the governorship position in both states, with Edo fielding the only female candidate in the entire polls. On the autonomy of the local government, the INEC boss said the law is yet to be amended, stressing that the same law that established the commission equally gave birth to the local government councils. The chairman Senate Committee on INEC, Senator Sarafaddin Ali, commended the commission, noting that the joint committee will continue to support the commission.
The law has not been amended. The same constitution that creates INEC also creates the state independent electoral commissions. So it is up to the National Assembly to amend the law to transfer that responsibility to INEC. If that is done, the question is, can INEC cope? Because we have also been saying that we should be unbundled. That is true, but we have never said that we should be unbundled beyond the conduct of electoral activities rather than elections. There are 2 activities we handle.
Has been the person who is taking all the blames about the elections in Nigeria. But because of our relationship with you and proximity, we are able to see that you are doing a lot of work. And that's why one of the things that this committee has decided to do is to go around the country, our zonal, to be able to ask for inputs from our people across the country with respect to the coming electoral reforms.
A building under construction at Aruwojobe, Maryland, Lagos collapsed in the wee hours of Thursday, leaving 5 people dead and a couple others injured. Galaxy's Iribami Salako, who was there at the site of the collapse, completes the story.
The cool, somber weather of the day testified to the sad incident that hung gloom and grey clouds over the William Mba Strait as Galaxy's team go to the scene of the building collapse. Residents are seen trying to make sense of the building collapse. They granted no interview because for them, it wasn't the right time for talking. However, we got audience from one of the emergency response team on ground.
The building under construction. Response effort yielded a good view because we were able to rescue 5 of the victims alive. As I speak, 5 numbers of dead male father, and that's sad. So that's exactly what is happening. No one has come forward to say he or she owns the properties.
As the rescue operations are still ongoing, neighbors were instructed to leave their houses so as not to be affected from vibrations of the excavators, as cracks were already visible on some of the neighboring buildings. With the reality of expensive building materials, constructors and governments are called upon to step up their games to prevent unnecessary loss of lives.
Government needs to get up. They have the bodies who are supposed to look at some of these things like cement. We don't have too much of a problem, but iron rods, formwork, woodwork, all those things, you have problems.
Currently at William Mba Street, number 13, Arojobe. This is where the building collapse happened. And as you can see around us, people here are still shaken by the event. When we spoke to one of the PRs of last week, what they are telling us is that they're trying to move away people who are around this place to avert further damage, because why they are trying to evacuate people from there, although we do not know if other people are there at this time, but the emergency operation is still going on and they're still trying to find out if people are still there, and then they're trying to get people away from these buildings because the vibration is too much, and then they are afraid that this could still further impact the houses. Iribami Samako, Galaxy TV News, Lagos.
The Nigerian Senate has commenced moves to unravel the circumstances behind the importation of hazardous petroleum products into Nigeria. The 15-man ad hoc committee constituted by the Senate leadership reinstated this commitment at its inaugural briefing on Thursday in Abuja. Correspondent Kuluju reports the chairman of the committee and leader of the Senate, Opemi Bamidele, said that terms of reference will see them invite relevant stakeholders to answer questions regarding the shortcomings in the petroleum sector. The committee, however, warned that any entity that fails to show up during the investigation may be compelled to do so through a warrant of arrest by the Inspector General of Police.
Our investigation seeks to identify and hold accountable all parties involved in the importation and distribution of the adulterated petroleum products, PMS and AGO. This includes suppliers, importers, regulatory bodies, and any other entity that may have contributed to this serious lapse in quality control.
The Senate leader also said the committee will unravel reasons why local refineries are mostly not operational. Some of the entities are expected to submit a memorandum of understanding, including Minister of State, Petroleum Ministries of Finance and Trade, the NNPCL, CBN, NIMASA, Customs, Navy, Dangote Oil, Obat Oil, among others.
Due to addressing fundamental issues that pose grave threats to our economic prosperity, fiscal stability, and public health as a nation. In line with our mandate, we will definitely unravel the roots of economic sabotage in Nigeria's petroleum industry and make necessary recommendations that will entrench global best practices in the industry.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, has revealed that Nigeria lost approximately $10 billion in revenue to crude oil theft between January and July 2024. The Speaker, who was speaking at the commencement of an investigative hearing on crude oil theft and revenue losses, emphasized the impossibility of meeting daily obligations to citizens with such significant revenue loss. Correspondent Nabuchi Nabuchi sent in this report. Honorable Abbas, who was represented by Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu, stated that those responsible for sabotaging the oil sector are known and will be exposed through the investigation. He expressed disappointment that those entrusted with managing the nation's affairs have prioritized self-interest. The Speaker, however, frowned at the loss of about $10 billion in revenue due to crude oil thefts between January and July 2024.
Between January and July 2024, Nigeria lost an average of 437,000 barrels of crude oil per day due to theft, vandalism, and other criminal activities. At the current price of oil, this translates to over $10 billion over this period of 7 months. I wonder how a government that loses about $10 billion in 7 months will be expected to meet up with its responsibilities for the citizens.
The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, disclosed that the government spent at least $1.5 billion on pipeline surveillance to prevent crude oil theft, resulting in substantial revenue loss. Maurice Nnamdi-Mbari, the permanent secretary representing the SGF, highlighted that Nigeria consistently fails to meet its OPEC production quota, affecting revenue and social services. He cited records from the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative showing $46 billion worth of crude stolen between 2009 and 2020.
The government has invested considerable resources in combating this menace. Since 2020, expenditure aimed at addressing crude oil theft and securing our oil infrastructure has exceeded $1.5 billion. These funds have been allocated towards enhancing surveillance capabilities, securing pipelines, and increasing the presence of law enforcement agencies in critical oil-producing areas.
Committee Chairman Honorable Al-Hassan Adodogwa emphasized that combating crude oil theft will significantly increase production. He acknowledged the effort of security operatives and all sector officials fighting against these illegal activities, while also noting that some may be involved in the theft.
Our discussions with stakeholders today and those we have engaged before have revealed that oil theft is not only a significant revenue loss for the country, but also a threat to national security and regional stability. The theft is categorized into onshore losses, involving sabotage of pipelines and installations for local markets, and offshore losses perpetrated by organized criminal syndicates for international buyers. Addressing this issue requires a multifaceted approach, including effective prosecution and punishment of perpetrators.
Oil theft has brought Nigeria down, and it has caused us embarrassment, national embarrassment, international embarrassment. It's a national embarrassment. I want to commend the security agents who are doing patriotically doing their job to protect our sovereignty and our fatherland and economic activity in the country. But there are some, I must be frank with you, DSS report, read their report very well, collaborate with them, you will get a lot of information. This thing we are talking about is not rocket science. The people who are sabotaging this in this space are known. They are known by names, they are known by companies, they are known by account details.
You're still on to Galaxy Primetime News, and coming up next. The Defense Headquarters has warned that the military will resist any form of violence and anarchy that may arise in the course of the planned protest. It is a diesel more. We'll come to you shortly. Please stay with us. We're glad to have you back. Now, for more updates and latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect with us on our X handle at GalaxyTV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/GalaxyTV News. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/GalaxyTV. Don't forget to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Galaxy TV. You can also avail our eyewitness feature via WhatsApp. If you have breaking news around you, simply share your story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818 666 669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comments. The lawmaker representing Idioto Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives, Honorable Ikenga Uguchinyere, has said that repositioning the oil sector for the growth of the economy is paramount in the National Assembly. The lawmaker made this known when he led other lawmakers to Port Harcourt, the River State capital, on a 3-day conference of the downstream and mainstream sector. According to the federal lawmaker, the allegation of importing adulterated petroleum products in Nigeria is their main mandate.
About on how to reposition the downstream sector and make it more effective and efficient, both the midstream and downstream. It's one of the reasons why we are here. If you will recall, on the 9th, the 10th House of Representatives set up a joint committee, a joint forensic investigative committee of the midstream and downstream petroleum with a 15-point mandate, which is to first of all find out the factor that is militating against growth in the downstream and midstream petroleum sector.
Also speaking on the Rivers political crisis, Honorable Uguchinyere cautioned the police against taking sides.
In Nigeria, not because I belong to any interest or any divide in the struggle, that respecting the rights of the people should be paramount to the police force. And the police force should not act in a way to show that they are giving undue advantage to the Abuja-based politicians. The governor deserves some respect. The people of Rivers State deserve some respect. Indiscriminate arrests, indiscriminate attacks, these are things that is unwelcome and not acceptable in any democratic setting. And I want to appeal to the Inspector General of Police. Here have been very peaceful. That is why our retreat is holding in Rivers State.
The minority caucus of the House of Representatives has urged the federal government to engage in dialogue with planned protesters to address their concerns. Caucus Chairman Honorable Kingsley Chinda discouraged protesters due to insecurity concerns, but asked the government to consider the protesters' messages and resolve issues amicably. The caucus also called for a carrot-and-stick approach to address insecurity, ensuring visible results and protection for Nigerians. They urged the government to create opportunities for citizens to be self-reliant, moving beyond palliatives to address economic downturn.
We want to assure Nigerians that because we have no other country, we will do everything possible to safeguard our nation, Nigeria. We considered issues that has to do with insecurity in our country. We considered issues that has to do with economy. We considered issues that had to do with unemployment.
The statement followed an end-of-session dinner in Abuja where the caucus expressed gratitude to its members for the support. The dinner aimed to foster unity and appreciation among minority parties in the House. State government on Thursday held a security meeting with relevant stakeholders ahead of the August 1st nationwide protest being planned by some unknown groups. The meeting, anchored by Special Advisor to the Governor on Security, Fatai Owusheni, was to warn the general public against allowing themselves to be used to perpetrate violence or destroy government and private property during the planned protest. In the various submissions, the stakeholders, while acknowledging the inalienable right of Nigerians to express their grievances anytime they felt that government was not doing the right thing, however, said that such protests should be peaceful. The Commissioner of Police in the state, Ayodele Shonubi, who was represented at the meeting by DCP Akin Adejobi, cautioned parents to prevail on the children not to be involved in any violent protest.
Where your right ends is where some other people's own begin. So if you have a right of assembly, of protesting, legally as per the constitution. Some other people also have a right to go about their lawful endeavors without let or hindrance.
Delta youth from the Delta Central Sanitary District under the aegis of Urobo Progress Union Youth Wing worldwide have distanced themselves from the proposed nationwide protest over hardship in the country. The youth made this known after the two-day deliberations, which ended with a communique. Correspondent Dene Fason completes the story.
Reading out the communique at the UPU auditorium in Uyamuge community of Ugele North local government area of Delta State, the national president, Urobo Youth Wing Worldwide, Blessed Ugere, said engaging in the protests at this time will be counterproductive to the nation.
We firmly believe that engaging in protests now will be counterproductive. Therefore, we categorically state that we will not support any form of protest across Urobo land in Delta State by any group or individual. Engaging in such protests risks exacerbating the existing security challenges in the region, creating opportunities.
Meanwhile, so many groups, including the president, have called for a halt on the protest, which is expected to commence on the 1st of August 2024. From Delta State, Dele Fason reporting for Galaxy News.
As the clock ticks ahead of the planned nationwide protests over the current economic hardship in the country, anxiety and apprehension seem to be growing among millions of Nigerians over the likely turn of events following the already tense situation Nigeria is facing, as some Nigerians have called on the need to tread with caution and consult more, given that the present administration is not folding its arms in resolving economic doldrums. Correspondent Gabriel Odia, who files in this report, takes a look at the Nigerian state admit's call for the nationwide protest. The report. While the stark realities of the obvious hardship on Nigerians smacks of anger given inflation, the high cost of food items and other commodities in the market, and the widening inequality and scarce resources among others, dispute government measures to address the economic situation. Amidst call for nationwide protest, some student bodies say the call for protests may not be the answer to the economic hardship, but calls for more consultation and dialogue, as there is a likelihood that the protest may be hijacked.
I want to state categorically that we are not aware, and the union is not planning any protest in any form, any day, concerning the economic situation of the country. For me, as a Nigerian, I'm aware of the current challenges and food insecurity, high rate of inflation, which are the global issue now, and it's unfortunate that I believe the protest now is not the way to go, because
protests in Nigeria most often is hijacked by miscreants, people who are not focused, people who are determined to cause mayhem, to add to our injury, will hijack this for their sinister motive. And so I will advise that we look for another platform to discussing how to end this untold hardship faced by Nigerians.
While they agreed on the overwhelming economic hardship on Nigerians, they called on President Tinubu to look at other ways of intervention to ameliorate the situation or revert to era of subsidy, since the removal has been the bane of hardship.
The country is tense, and the economic hardship, the cost of living is so high. If people start to vent their anger on the country, it will not help even the leaders and the followers. So government have to come up with policies that will reduce this. And if we trace all these issues, they all boil down to the removal of subsidy on petrol. You know, the president has been trying in so many ways by giving palliative, but the palliative seems not to be yielding result. So government can also think, if the policy is not working, is to bring back the subsidy.
The government should look for ways to cushioning this hardship. If there are intervention packages there have been clearly spelled out to people that will help people to be able to go out of this hardship. It will help, for instance, some kind of interventions in the form of COVID-19 loans and grants. I tell you, the federal government have our BVNs.
They, however, called on stakeholders, politicians, not to stock the polity with unguarded statements since the nation is grappling with insecurity and other challenges. Nigerians have been advised to adopt peaceful and intellectual approaches to address the country's challenges rather than resorting to protest. Leaders of the Northern Socio-Cultural Group reviewed the Rewa Initiative Development made the appeal at a news conference in Abuja ahead of a planned nationwide protest. The president of the group, Balarabe Rufai, while presenting the position of the over 50 civil society organizations, acknowledged the right to protest, but highlighted the often violent outcomes of such actions in Africa, citing examples from Libya, Sudan, Kenya, and Nigeria's NSAS protest. He emphasized the need for alternative approaches to address Nigeria's pressing issues, including security challenges, economic instability, social problems, and political corruption. The group proposed solutions including multidimensional security committees, improved welfare for security personnel, technological innovations to combat insurgency, revitalization of infrastructure projects, economic reforms, and social services. Rufai warned that neglecting these solutions could lead to further national discontent and protest.
Recognizing the right of every citizen to peacefully protest, we remain cautious of the fact that political maturity is still lacking in our system. We are yet to develop a strong shoulder to withstand the pressure, consequences of our selfish actions, and weather the storm when the atmosphere turns bleak.
And we also believe he will act. He just requested that Nigerians should have patience with him. This is part of the patience. We've had enough patience, and this we are doing is part of the patience that Nigerians are having. This is why we are saying, most especially the northern youths, don't go out there in the name of protest to protest for anything, because somebody spoke about security. We are already having security challenge in Nigeria as a country and in northern Nigeria in particular.
Ahead of the planned nationwide protest, the Defense Headquarters has warned that the military would resist any form of violence and anarchy that may arise in the course of the planned protest. Director of the Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, who gave the warning today at the bi-weekly briefing of the various activities of the military and other security agencies in Abuja, stated emphatically that the military will not watch any anarchy before Nigeria as a result of the protest. He noted an indication shows that there are plots by unscrupulous elements to hijack the planned protest and turn it into a violent one, replicating the recent protest turned anarchy demonstration in Kenya. He said the troops will act dutifully to forestall such ugly occurrences from happening in Nigeria. General Buba added that the citizens' constitutional right to peaceful protest does not warrant mobilization for anarchy.
Areas targeted. Accordingly, the level of violence being envisaged can only be described as a state of anarchy. The armed forces on its part will not stand by and allow anarchy to befall our nation. This is because we have seen wars and have witnessed anarchy in countries in which we have operated, particularly during the times of ECOMOG or during our peacekeeping operations in various countries. For the events of the week, during the week under review, troops neutralized 106 terrorists and arrested 164 persons across the theaters of operation.
You're still on to Galaxy Primetime News. Let's quickly take a break. When we return, the news continues. Do stay with us. We're glad to have you back. The Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa says the contemporary security threat facing the country included a threat of terrorism perpetrated in the northeast will soon come to an end. General Musa charged the military to always act in the interest of the country and not for personal gains. He gave the charge at the Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji, Kaduna, at the regimental dinner night in honor of the graduating students of Senior Course 46. The CDS was represented by the Chief of Policy and Planned Defense Headquarters, AVM Ibrahim Adola, who shared some thought with the graduating students on contemporary security challenges and the roles of mid-level officers.
Having gone through 11 months of intensive training, I'm sure you are all eagerly looking forward to returning to your respective services and countries to put into practice the knowledge you have gathered on this course. As we wait for you to rejoin us, I am sure this training has further broadened your command, leadership, and professional skills.
According to General Musa, the graduates will be deployed directly to units and formations in the front line. He urged them to use their new skills and knowledge to play important roles in the ongoing operations.
Primary security threats facing our country includes threat of terrorism by Boko Haram and ISWAP in the northeast. Similarly, there have been threats emanating from violent extremism, insurgency, and ethnic rivalry, as well as pastoral-based conflicts in the northwest and north central, as well as other regions.
The Delta State Police Command has paraded suspected armed robbers and kidnappers involved in a robbery incident at the Western Delta University in Ogara, as well as kidnappers terrorizing residents across the state. The suspects were paraded at the Ekpan Police Division in Uvue local government area of the state. Our correspondent Delifasa has more.
The suspects, who have been on the wanted list of the Delta Police Command after the robbery at the university and kidnapping activities, were said to have been arrested within June and July at various locations in the state.
We are at the Ekpan Police Station where we will be parading some suspects that we have arrested between the months of June to date. Some of them were arrested around Agbaro, Ugele, Ogara, Sapele, and in Ekpan. We also have part of the suspects that robbed the Western Delta University in Ogara. You know, we arrested some, we have arrested the other syndicates, and also arrested the receivers of some of those phones that were stolen from the students. We also have some of the students here that will testify how they were robbed on that day. We have over 85 sophisticated handsets, which include 55 very expensive iPhones.
The kidnapped suspect, who hails from the north, and the armed robbery suspect admitted to the crime.
Kidnapping.
What happened?
Somebody call her. So the person why call her? See, why them go and carry the person? I know, but why them go and carry the person? Then send me I come here buy food. I know, but follow them where they go, where they keep them. I don't understand me. So after I come back, before me I carry the food, go give them. Then say the person don't die. Then
the robbery carry us go to school before. When they carry us go to school was quite different. Oh, we reach here now. not gonna know how the spirit take carry us before we do another thing. To carry load before now be waiting we go for. When we reach there now, another thing and I will call later go.
Also in Agbaru, the DPO Agbaru got a timely information on the activities of some kidnapper around June. She quickly mobilized her team and went to that location where they recovered 3 AK-49 rifles and 2 AK-47 rifles. We also have them here on display. And they also recovered about 215 rounds of AK-47 7.62 mm ammunition.
It will be recalled that over 50 students of the Western Delta University in Ogara were robbed by the suspect as the police commissioner, Abaniwanda Olufemi, promised to arrest all the suspects, including the kidnappers, before today's parade. From Delta State, Daily Fast reporting for Galaxy News.
Elder statesman Emmanuel Iwanyawun is dead. This was verified in a statement on Thursday, July 25th by Jidewu Anyanwu, the son of the late chief. According to the statement, the 82-year-old Iwanyawun died in Abuja on Thursday after struggling with illness. The statement says that Iwanyawun family of Umuge Ata in Ikeduru local government area of Imo State announced the demise of the patriarch, Engineer Chief Emmanuel Chukwuemeka Iwanyawun. The statement also said that Chief Anyanwu died on Thursday, July 25, 2024, after a brief illness. He was aged 82. Chief Anyanwu, before his death, was President General of Ohanese Indibo Worldwide and President of Owerri People's Assembly. He survived by several children and grandchildren, as well as his wife, Lady Princess Frances Iwanyawun. And I'll move over to the foreign desk for more news. Hello and welcome to the foreign news. A strong typhoon made landfall on China's southeastern coast on Thursday evening after sweeping across the nearby island of Taiwan, where it caused landslides and flooding in low-lying areas and left 3 dead. Typhoon Gemi had swept up the western Pacific, intensifying seasonal rains early in the week in the Philippines, with a death toll climbed to 22. Offices and schools in Taiwan were closed for a second day, and people were urged to stay home and away from the coastline. 2 people were killed on Wednesday before the storm made landfall around midnight, and a 78-year-old man died after his home was hit by a mudslide on Thursday afternoon. The Israeli military says it has recovered the bodies of 5 Israelis taken back to Gaza as hostages during Hamas attack on southern Israel on 7th October. The bodies of kindergarten teacher Maya Goran was, as well as the soldiers Major Ravid Arya, Master Sergeant Oren Golden, Staff Sergeant Tomer Ahimas, and Sergeant Kirill Brodsky, were found during an operation in the Khan Yunis area. The military said it had determined that Ms. Goren was murdered in captivity, while the soldiers were killed in combat on 7th October, and their bodies being abducted. The announcement means 111 of the 251 people taken hostage are still being held in Gaza, including 39 who the military says are presumed dead. Kenya's President William Ruto has nominated Douglas Kanja to be vetted for the post of Inspector General of Police. Ruto's office said on Thursday to replace the police chief who quit amid criticism of police conduct over anti-government protest. Kanja had been acting in the same position since mid-July when the previous holder, Japhet Kome, resigned after condemnation of officers' performance during protests the previous month, in which at least 39 people have been killed. The demonstrations against proposed tax increases began peacefully but turned violent. Kanya is a career police officer with nearly 4 decades experience, having served as a Deputy Inspector General of Kenyan Police and Commandant of the Police Paramilitary General Service Unit. Rights groups and activists have since said the death toll from the protests countrywide stood at least 50. And still on foreign news, the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization on Thursday called for an urgent and unified response to combat an alarming rise in avian influenza cases in humans and animals across the Asia-Pacific. The H5N1 virus has spread more likely than ever before, reaching as far as South America and Antarctica and infecting new wild and domestic animals, it said in a statement. The agency counted 30 new human infections reported in Cambodia since late 2023, with additional cases in China and Vietnam. Indonesia and the Philippines are facing heightened security due to its diverse ecological landscape and limited biosecurity measures, while India, Nepal and Bangladesh are also battling outbreaks, it said. It urged member nations to work together to implement comprehensive surveillance systems, including full genome sequencing. The death toll from landslides that hit southwestern Ethiopia has risen to 257 and could reach 500, the UN's Office for Humanitarian Affairs says. Heavy rains in the mountainous Gofa zone caused a landslide on Sunday, followed by a second on Monday morning that trapped people who were rescuing victims of the first. The death toll stood at 229 on Tuesday. According to Ethiopia's National Disaster Risk Management Commission, at least 125 people have been displaced and 12 injured. OCHA said in an update on Thursday. More than 15,000 affected people need to be evacuated immediately because of the risk of more landslide, it said. Search and rescue operations are continuing. Images the Gulf authorities posted showed people digging through the mud with their bare hands. One survivor, Segnash Obole, told newsmen that mud had swept down a hill and engulfed her and her 6 children. And finally, on foreign news, a raging wildfire has burned down parts of the western Canadian tourist town of Jasper, and firefighters are working to save as many buildings as possible. Jasper is in the middle of Jasper National Park in the province of Alberta. The town and park, which draws more than 2 million tourists a year, were evacuated on Monday, when officials estimated there were 15,000 visitors in the park. Environment Canada is forecasting 10 mm to 20 mm of rain for Thursday, which might help firefighters. The blaze is on of hundreds ravaging the western provinces of Alberta and British Columbia. The federal government said in April that high temperatures and thin dry forests meant this could be one of the worst years ever for fires in Canada. And that's all we have on the foreign news. And up next is entertainment news.
Welcome to Entertainment News. My name is Rose Blossom Moye. Here are the stories for today. Nigerian singer Cade makes a drastic return to social media after he unfollows his boss Sydney Stalker and everybody else except Olamide on Instagram. It was reported earlier that the singer made a dramatic return to social media after a prolonged absence, sparking buzz with a cryptic message that hints at lingering conflict. Cade's return comes after spending months in the hospital after he was reported ill by Sydney Talker due to internal bleeding. A closer look at his Instagram page shows that the singer unfollowed all his contact, including his record label boss. Cade's drastic action leaves only YBNL boss Olamide on his follow list, sparking intrigue and speculations about potential industry tensions or a shift in alliances. The streets of Instagram just got hotter as a new photo of Big Brother Naija alumina V and singer Magix just got released. Nigerian singer Magix has sparked dating speculations as he shares cozy photos with reality TV star VE. Taking to X, the Marvin singer stirred queries from fans and followers with his recent post. His caption further fueled the dating speculations with V. These pictures raised a lot of brows regarding the nature of their relationship and what could have brought them together. It is worth noting that VE hasn't been in any public relationship since a split from fellow Big Brother Naija star Neo Apofore. A Muslim lady, Adiba Haya, has expressed anger after actress Nancy Isime used a niqab on a movie set. Nancy had posted images from the movie she's currently shooting on her Instagram page, including one image of herself brandishing a revolver while sporting in a niqab. In another photo from the same movie set, 3 of them who were wearing niqabs were engaged in a heist. Nancy was vehemently addressed by the Muslim lady, who asserted that the niqab should not be used as a costume to advance socially destructive purposes. She underlined that Muslims already face a lot of difficulties, such as hardship and tribal conflict. They don't need to bear the extra weight of religious intolerance. The Muslim rights concerns Murik has condemned a new movie featuring Nancy Isime and other actresses, a full Islamic covering and a brandishing weapon. Murik describes the movie as satanic and called for it banned, citing concerns that it depicts Muslim women as criminals and incites the public against them. And finally, here are the highlights from the exciting premiere of the highly anticipated movie The Wages, which took place right at luxurious Azar Cinema Assese. Produced by Kingsview, this movie is set to make waves in the Nigerian entertainment industry, with its official release slated for August 9. The Wages is a powerful narrative that underscores the impact of entertainment in Nigeria. The Wages exemplifies this by delving into a profound theme that will leave viewers with much to ponder. The movie features a stellar cast including Rhea Decker, Michael Ejo, Omeche Oko, amongst others. Each actor delivers a compelling performance, bringing depth and authenticity to this gripping tale. As The Wages prepares official release on Kingsview this August, anticipation is building. The film promises not only to entertain, but to challenge viewers to engage with its meaningful messages. The world is thrilled to witness the continuous evolution of Nigerian cinema and its commitment to storytelling that makes a difference. With celebrities in attendance speaking to Galaxy TV, here is what they had to say.
That the script was that way. I like the fact that they didn't approach it with so much preaching, because sometimes people can tune out. So if you're a Muslim, whatever, you can watch the movie and still enjoy it.
Something that is certain about the movie is that we'll leave here with the word of God.
The message is about being conscious of life, from what you do and the consequences. Still Pastor Titi and Pastor Mechitu were in the movie, so I'm looking forward to it to see what role did they really play in this movie.
So how was the experience? In just a brief, minutes, can you tell us how the experience was with the cast and crew?
It was absolutely amazing. The director gave me room to breathe. He also, he gave me the opportunity. He told me what he wanted, and then he let me bring what I felt that Tekena needed to it. I liked several of the lines.
Yeah, I would say we finished production in November last year. The film is just coming out, so it's like it has been a 6-month journey of post-production and all that. But I'll tell you this, it has been, the cast, they were amazing. They supported me all the way. My crew, my writers, even from the writer's room, you can see that everybody was passionate about it, because no matter how you want to tell a story, you have to put some elements of believability into it. And if you watch the film, there's a lot of twists and turns, and I got that from my writing.
And that'll be all on entertainment news. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Rose Blossom. Bye for now.
And that's all we have on Galaxy Primetime News. Thank you so much for being